We'll start first off with the news about Freddie, somebody you've known a long time. You must be pleased for him.
Yeah, delighted for Freddie. Just watching his growth in the last five seasons since he came to the club has been brilliant, really rewarding for everyone around him, and he's earned this. He went out on his 2 loan experiences and was probably 10 out of 10 through both of those experiences. Has come back, been waiting for his opportunities, and he's had to work really hard to get them. And then when he's featured, he's been a real handful and has shown everybody what his potential is and what he's capable of right now. Loads to work on in his game. He's still 20 years of age. He's still a baby, and he's going to have some real help now from James Collins being in and around him every day, teaching him the craft and the art of being that type of number 9 and being a real focal point for us. But yeah, delighted for Freddie and much deserved.
In the interview we've just done with him, he admitted that since he's come back from Warsaw, perhaps that first part last season, the end of last season, it went quite well. But it's been quite difficult for him this season, and his form hasn't been what he'd like it to be. I mean, number one, it's refreshing to hear a player being able to be honest about their own form. But what do you do to help somebody who's clearly struggled at times this season?
Fred, I mean, he can be critical of himself. He's got really high standards, which is a healthy thing. And we spoke to Freddie through this season about just focusing on his strengths, so making the stuff he's good at even better. And he knuckles down on the training ground, wants to improve all parts of his game. But our focus as the coaching team has been the stuff he's good at, and the centre forward that he's going to become. Let's make him a master of that craft. And my experiences with him and our experiences, when he gets a bit of rhythm to his game and a run of games, is when he's at his best. So he's been patient, waiting for his opportunity, so hopefully he can fight to get a run, and that's where you see him at his fluent best.
What can you as a management team do to help him though during that form in terms of outside perceptions? Because the perception of a coaching sort of setup is fine, but inevitably if you have a bad run of form, there's comments on social media, there's comments in general that players will say they're not aware of, but inevitably they're going to be aware of some of it. What can you do to help them in a very modern world that's probably quite different to what it was in your playing day?
Yeah, it's a newer thing that must be really difficult for players at full time to get instant feedback every week. And I think as a young player, we've helped him with this. He's a resilient young man. He's a tough cookie, as Fred. You can hopefully see that with how he plays. So that sort of stuff, he'll be aware of it, but he'll want to prove people wrong if it's negative stuff. And our opinion on Freddie is probably the one he's most worried about. He wants us to tell him what to get better at. How's he going to get in the team? How's he going to stay in the team? So we've built some resilient young players at this club through their experiences, through the academy days and the loans they go on, living over in Ireland. All that stuff's going to bring him on as a young man. So he's got broad shoulders, absolutely broad shoulders as Freddie to deal with anything like that, and he will always bounce back. But I think people will have seen the really good bits of Freddie this year as well, and his challenge is to show that on a consistent basis. We've got to give him the platform to do that, and he's more than capable.
Were you relieved when the transfer window was closed?
I think so, yeah. Overall, I think we've come out of it in a good place. A few additions in parts of the pitch where we needed it for different reasons, and we've had some good players join the club, and obviously some very good players are staying with us for the rest of the season, so that's really good news.
What's the situation with Sam Clucas?
Sam training really well, in contention for the weekend. Been a period of sort of getting to know us, getting to know him, bedding in him a little bit into how we work and what we want from that position. Obviously players in that position have performed very well, so he's been a little bit patient, and now he's definitely in contention for the weekend. But you can see his quality every day. He's a very, very talented footballer, and he's been a pleasure to be around and coach and watch him work.
Can you understand though why there's a raised eyebrow? A player joins a football club, from the outside perspective is not fit to start a game, and for 2.5 weeks is not seen. It feels unusual to sign a player that by perception is not ready to play.
Yeah, it was like a really well planned bit of work by the club, to knowing what he can give us for the rest of the season. It was never going to be a straight in and playing. He'd obviously been at Oldham, so the intensity of League One's a little bit different, you'd imagine. So we wanted to get him used to. It's a lot of detail in that position in our team as well. So we wanted to get used to the tactical side of it, up to speed physically, and he's there now. So he's in contention. He's got to get the shirt off some really good players as well, Michael. That's the beauty of our department in there. We've got some talented players. A few little injuries now that will open some doors, but we're looking forward to giving Sam the opportunity at the right moment.
So to be clear, he wasn't just a club signing, he was a signing that the coaching staff supported.
Yeah, he's some player, isn't he? Sam Clucas. So
No, I'm not denying that, but you can understand why speculation happens when people don't see a player for 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, of course, and no, that was an absolute collaborative decision when a player of his quality is available to come to our club. We were all on board with that, and we just got to get the timing right. And there's other players that are doing really well in that role, and that's the nature of it. And Sam will get his chance, I'm sure, in the very near future, and hopefully he's as good as we all think he can be.
You kind of hinted at it in one of your answers just there. Injuries, we saw Ethan obviously coming off at half time. Is he available for the game? What other injury issues do you have?
Yeah, so Jack's obviously had his operation, which you're aware of, so we're a body down in there, and Ethan picked up a quad in the last game, so he will be out for a number of weeks, which is really disappointing because he started to find a proper rhythm to his game. I thought he was outstanding in the last couple of fixtures, so really disappointing news for Ethan and for us, but opportunity for someone else to step in and make that position their own.
And any other particular concerns that you're allowed to talk about?
No, but with Tom Hamer back on the training pitch with which is great to see. He's a big presence in the group. He's a winner. So having him back around the group, we'll be gentle with him, bedding him back into the full training programme. But just good to see him out there, and he will make a big difference to our squad when fully fit.
Looking ahead to the game against Cambridge United, you're not allowed to say it, but everyone else who's a fan and probably in the media will just look at it. They have a bad away record. They've only won once away from home. I know they got a draw last week against Wycombe, but not in the best of form. Bottom of the table, people are going to make assumptions that you're not allowed to make.
They have picked a few decent results up in recent weeks. They've landed on a way of playing, which makes it really difficult to break down. We've got a good idea of what the game could look like. So that's been our plan through the week, with a little bit more work to do tomorrow. And they're a very gritty, organised football team who've got a good counter-attack. So we've got to be really careful whilst trying to search them, and we'll search them in our way and mix up that approach to make our chances. We've got to be aware of their counter-attack, and we've got to lock the pitch up. So we need an afternoon where we've got territory and we've got possession and we're creating loads of volume, and it builds a really good atmosphere, intimidating atmosphere in the ground, and got to find our way to create the chances and take the chances. But they went to Bolton, got a good result. Wycombe beat Mansfield in recent weeks, so these are a good football team who will make life difficult, and they're tough to break down.
But I guess the good thing is they need a result. You know, a draw, I'm sure, as we always know in football, it kind of keeps you where you are. So they're really in need of wins now. So the emphasis will be on them at some stage, be it on the counter-attack as well, to get a goal.
Yeah, and that's been their plan in recent weeks, to spring on teams. So we've got to be on the front foot. We've got to take the game to them, but we've got to look after the back door and make sure that everything's locked up on the halfway line, and just manage their counter-attack, because it's a decent one.